15 new in winter outfits that feel classy and polished, a classic winter haul. Hello everyone, welcome back. And for those that are new here, I'm Jess. I'm a 45-year-old fashion stylist, helping women discover their own personal style and sharing beautiful outfit ideas along the way. So today I am sharing a classic winter haul. I have 15 new in outfits that feel very classy and polished. I've shopped a little bit from everywhere actually for this particular winter haul. I've got some pieces from Mango, from Marks and Spencer's, cosy, and Other Stories, and Jigsaw. Then I've got a little bit of a sprinkle from some of my favorite independent brands like 11 Loves and Tula and Hope. So a really good mixture of price points and some very beautiful outfits. So we better get started. So first up, let's start with cos, and I've chosen a couple of different pieces from their new collection. Despite the fact that you'll have the outfit ideas on screen, I haven't actually in this moment tried these pieces on yet. So this is almost like a first look for me. I can't quite do an unboxing because everything's too creased, but it's a first proper in-depth look at these pieces. So first of all, going pretty casual and everyday style, I opted for a new turtleneck jumper for my wardrobe. Cos, as we know, do really beautiful knitwear. They always choose really lovely yarns, and this particular one is made from 100% merino. Now I would say, compared to other merino knitwear that I've had in the past, this one is fairly heavyweight, almost like a midweight, I suppose. Not too chunky to be able to go under lots of my winter coats, which is definitely a good thing, but certainly heavy enough to feel really practical when it's cold outside. Now the reason that this particular jumper caught my eye compared to some of the other lovely ones they've got on their website was just a few little details with this particular knit. So I really love the shoulders here, they're raglan sleeves, and they've just got that lovely rib detailing coming over the sleeve, and then quite a wide shape on that sleeve as well, almost a bit of a bat wing actually. And I find with those mottled yarns that it just adds another layer of depth to that piece, and then eventually to that whole outfit idea. It makes it look a little bit different. So the other piece I got from Coles, one second because it's on my rail. Now if I'm honest, this dress was a little bit of a last minute purchase, and I spotted this dress and thought, oh, I like that. I'm not really sure if it will suit me, but I'll give it a go. I'm gonna add it to basket. Very quick purchase. And now that it's arrived and I've seen and felt the quality of that fabric in real life, I absolutely love it. So I'm very eager to try this one on. Now fabric wise, it says on their website that this has been made from actually one of my favorite sustainable fabrics, Ecovero, which is essentially a really nice sustainable viscose. It does say on there as well that it's got an element of wool, which I cannot feel whatsoever. In all honesty, when it arrived, I was convinced that's got to be like a Duchess satin, like a really beautiful, quite thick satin, but really nicely so that you know you're going to be able to retain this shape, which for me is what this dress is all about. It's a brilliant A-line shift dress with that gorgeous boat neck. You want it to keep that shape no matter what. So as I mentioned, you've got that very wide boat neck, which I think and I hope is going to sit really nicely against the top of my collarbone. And then the sleeves, as you can see, are a little bit fluted. And then they've got the slit that runs up the hem to add another lovely detail. There's no need for any bells and whistles on it. It just does what it says on the tin. A beautiful dress for the evening that you could equally dress down as well for the day. So next up, a couple of pieces I tried on in store in And Other Stories. I really loved them, didn't buy them, walked away, and then kept thinking about them. So first up to a pair of leggings, but I would say these are definitely on the higher end kind of scale in terms of the quality and the way that they've been made, and also detailing as well. So certainly a piece for an elevated legging look rather than something for the gym. So they're elasticated around the waistband, and really nice detail is that you've got this seam running all the way down the front center of both legs. That's just adding a subtle bit of difference, which I really like. I like that they've done these with no pockets, so it's just really slimline across the hips. You've got nothing jutting out anywhere. Another nice detail with this pair is that on the cuffs they've done a zip detail. Now I don't know if I will wear them down because I actually quite like that open a little bit so it scoops out and gives the hem a little bit of shape. But I shall have a play with the styling and see how I like it best. But I think I'll probably wear that open. And if all of those points weren't reason enough for me to finally add these to basket, they've also been made from the hugely sustainable viscose, which is Ecovero. Now burgundy, of course, is one of the big fashion trends this autumn winter 2024. But I must admit, I don't think I've seen such a pretty blouse as this one in that particular shade. I loved it when I tried it on in store, and in fact, actually, I think I was wearing my high-waisted denim jeans, which is probably how I would style it an awful lot as well. And I really like the outfit too. I think I'm just one of those very annoying shoppers that has to go around, try everything on, go home, think about it, and then go back online and buy it later. So again, this has been made from viscose, and as you can see, it's got this beautiful frill detail coming all the way over the shoulders. It goes all the way around the back. You've got little pin tuck gatherings to make that frill even more. In And Other Stories, I have tried on, I think it was in the summer, a couple of their frilly blouses, and when they've made them in cotton or linen, obviously the nature of that fabric is quite thick and it makes those frills stick out too much that I think I had one that looked a little bit like a flamenco dancer. It was a bit too much. But when it's made from such a lightweight chiffon-esque kind of fabric, those pleats and gathers will sit so much nicer. They'll sit quite flat. They're not going to be poking out and too much in your face. It's just a nice subtle detail that you'll probably see even more as you move a little bit. So very happy with those two purchases, but let me show you now the jumper that I found online. So it is really a very simple, quite staple jumper that is the kind of thing I like to wear throughout winter. It's not hugely heavyweight, but it's definitely thick enough to call it a jumper. And I would say on a super cold day, I would probably style it with a simple crew neck with long sleeves underneath, maybe even showing the collar here as well. That'd be quite nice for a little bit of added detail and obviously a little bit of extra warmth. Now, because these relaxed knits are part of And Other Stories' more staple basic range, they're coming in under £50. That does of course mean that you're not getting the highest quality, 100% cashmere in the world, but neither would we expect it for under £50. So this one has been made from a blend of cotton, which I actually can't feel in there at all. It doesn't feel like cotton. It's got 6% of wool. It has got polyester, however, they've very thankfully used recycled polyester, so we don't mind that. In terms of the shape, as I said, it's a crew neck, but what I really like is the fact that it is very boxy. That for me just makes it that perfect throw on everyday kind of jumper. Now, thinking of something for the evening, but items that will also cross over nicely for the daytime too, I popped over to Marks and Spencer's to have a little look at their new collection. And in actual fact, I originally was on there to have a look at the new Sienna Miller range, but the collection that's just launched is very evening wear, and I didn't want to go full on down that route because, as you'll see in a moment, I've got quite a few new pieces in that kind of style. I wanted those kind of crossover pieces. So I chose at Marks and Spencer's two different black tops, which I'm debating which one I prefer the most to keep. So the first one is quite a drapey, silky looking fabric, almost a bit lycra-esque in a nice way, I should say, because lycra is not good on anybody. But in terms of the way that it's draping around this cowl neck at the front, I like the fact that this neckline here isn't too low, so I've not got to be paranoid if it's going to show my bra, but equally you're getting that lovely shape around the neckline to add a touch of detail. I also really like that they kept the sleeves nice and long. I often see pieces like this and they've done it sleeveless, and I just think, well, that's great. Nobody's ever going to choose that, are they? We need sleeves. So very, very grateful that they did a long version of that, and they kept it nice and streamlined. You could style that with a skirt, but I do find the length of tops like this need to be tucked in. It can feel a little bit awkward sometimes. So personally, I think that's going to work with jeans the most. On the flip side of that silky number, I've then gone for more of a chiffon, slightly bohemian looking top. This one for me looks like it will cross over more for daytime outfits than the silky drape one. I think just because that fabric is particularly shiny and it does automatically feel very evening-esque. Whereas this one, I think, styled with jeans and maybe ankle boots and a scarf wrapped around your neck, that could easily pass for daytime too. So that's possibly an extra plus in its favor. They're both, I believe, a similar price point, really reasonable from Marks and Spencer's, and really nicely made actually. In all honesty, there was an awful lot on Marks and Spencer's website at the moment that I did really want to add to baskets. So if I've got enough space, I shall add, say, a top 5 pieces from their collection in the description box below, and you can have a look at that after this. But for now, I'm choosing between these two. Would you go chiffon-esque with a little bohemian spirit, and something a little bit more sophisticated and probably a little bit more polished really with the drapey one? Let me know. Now, some of you might have seen this dress already on my channel in, I think, a what I wore video. It just arrived. So this is a beautiful dress that I chose from a Wake Modes collaboration with John Lewis that they're doing not only for winter 2024, but I believe they're also doing it again in spring 2025. It feels very on trend, it feels a little bit different, you're getting that really nice high quality fabrics and yarns, and yet thankfully the prices aren't getting too silly expensive. What I love about this particular dress is that it not only feels very classy and elegant and really put together and makes you stand up a little bit taller actually, but it is also essentially a sweater dress. It's just those little elements, those little details that make it feel so much more special. I like wearing it with my knee-high boots. That's how I feel a bit more comfortable on a day-to-day basis. It would of course go with black if that's a coat that you wanted to add over the top. But personally for me, I'm not hugely keen on bright red and black together. It's quite a harsh contrast. It really looks a little bit stark. It's not a style rule as such. I just personally prefer blending it with something a little bit softer like brown or camel. It just feels a little bit more gentle, a bit more feminine as a result. Now heading back to party season and a little sprinkle of sequins, nobody is doing it better at the moment than Mango. So I bought a couple of their pieces, starting with this silver sequin midi skirt. Now I haven't tried this on yet, but in truth, when I took it out of the parcel, I thought, oh no, it's coming up bodycon. And I'm a little bit concerned that is going to stick to me like glue. So I'm really hoping this has got a nice drape to it and it doesn't cling to me in all the wrong places. Because in all honesty, if this one's coming up a little bit too tight, while I was on my sequin skirt searching, I actually found quite a few options that I do really like. Do let me know what you think as well in the comments below, and I might switch this one out. But I did like the idea of having something silver in my wardrobe. I think that particularly actually works really nicely with grey, maybe even just a grey knit over the top to do a bit of a high-low contrast. I think that would work nicely. You've got a fair old slit at the back there, so I should be able to walk, and it looks tiny. So we shall see, proof is in the pudding, whether that one looks any good on me or not. So fingers crossed that one's not skin tight on me because that definitely isn't going to work. But something I'm holding out an awful lot of hope on is this really rather wonderful sequin t-shirt. And actually this top is a combination of that high-low aesthetic in itself, because of course, although it's sequined and it's quite glam and very shiny, it's been done in a very basic t-shirt style shape. So it's instantly making that contrast for you, which I do really like. Another element which I think is a nice touch is the fact that they've added shoulder pads into this. It just gives you a bit of a sharper look on your shoulders, which inevitably will balance out your shape a little bit better on most women. You've got a zip down the back there because obviously sequins aren't very stretchy to get on, and seemingly a nice width on those sleeves there, so probably they're not going to cling too tight either. So it is actually just a sheer layer of sequins that's going over the top of a basic t-shirt. And again, like I mentioned before with the Marks and Spencer's pieces, that for me, styled with a pair of jeans and maybe those lovely new heels that I got from All Saints, that would be my ideal out outfit for dinner, say. It's probably not dressed up enough for some Christmas parties, but you could add a long silky skirt as your bottom element to that, and then suddenly that is. And again, there was quite a few pieces on Mango's website which I could have happily added to baskets. If I've got the space, I will put them in the description box below, but if I run out of room, which I often do, they will be over on my website. A quick mention, if you're not already subscribed, it would be really lovely if you'd like to do so. I'm also on a bit of a roll with my YouTube shorts at the moment, sharing lots of daily style and outfit ideas. I shall make sure I add a link to that in the description box below, but do take a look at the end of this for lots more outfit ideas and styling advice. Next up in this winter haul, I headed over to one of my favorite independent brands, 11 Loves, and I chose this absolutely gorgeous olive green jumper. Now this is a color I love adding into my wardrobe because particularly in winter time, I suppose, I do seem to be wearing those darker tones, a bit of the very on-trend burgundy, which olive of course goes beautifully with, as much as it would say with my light wash jeans. Now one reason I really rate 11 Loves so much is because she really, especially for an independent, makes such an effort to be as sustainable as possible. So this jumper, for instance, has been made from responsibly sourced wool, and it feels really gorgeous actually. The other nice point of difference with this particular jumper is that you can very slightly see a little bit of a shimmer, hopefully in this footage when I try it on. It's got a lurex thread running through it, it. Now, when I say shimmer, I do mean very, very subtle. You can only kind of see it in certain lights, but subtle is definitely best for me, and I just think it's a really nice touch to jazz up a simple knit and make it feel a little bit more festive. So this is a new pair of boyfriend jeans. I personally really like boyfriend jeans. I just find the fit super comfortable. They're not fitting too tight, they're not too high-waisted, and they pretty much go with everything, so incredibly versatile. And also I decided to opt for these in a darker tone, which does feel a little bit more appropriate for autumn winter, and to maybe finally get me out of these light wash jeans, which I have worn again and again and again. So something a little bit different, but equally something I could wear on an everyday basis. Now, these have been made from responsibly sourced cotton, which we like very much. They've also, instead of a lot of the different options I've seen about on the high street recently, these ones have got a mid-rise, which actually makes a refreshing change from anything too high. The denim itself is very slightly distressed looking, so it looks a bit more authentic, almost like they're a little bit vintage, which I really like. And then the leg, I don't know if you can see here, they're a little bit creased because I have actually worn these already at the weekend, but hopefully you can see here at the hem, they're very, very slightly tapered. So overall shape-wise, I do find these really flattering, and then fit-wise, as I know from wearing them all weekend, they are super comfortable as well. Next up in this classic winter haul to a couple of pieces I was very kindly able to choose from All Saints. And particularly thinking about party season coming up, I went for this beautiful gunmetal style slip dress. So as you can see, it's a very silky number that feels amazing to wear. And actually it's a little bit more gunmetal-esque in look than I thought it was when you look at their website, in a really nice way. Hopefully you can see in this footage, when it moves and it just catches the light, it gets that really lovely shimmer. And I kind of thought for festive party season, it's something that feels appropriate and it feels quite dressed up, but maybe one for those who don't really want to go full on sequins. It's a nice alternative. Now, together with this dress, I also chose something I actually really, really needed. One beautiful pair of new heels. The only sandals I had in my wardrobe were that pair that are about 20 years old that I bought from Gucci, and the heel is just so huge on those, and it's very, very skinny, so it's very hard to walk in them. So I did need a new alternative that was just a little bit lower, which these definitely are, but you're still getting that high sandal kind of shape at the same time. So you've got that gold detail across the toe there, which ties in nicely with the heel, but I really like that the heel isn't too high, and having already worn them out in the evening, I can report that they didn't hurt my feet too much wearing them all night long. I say too much because at least after a few hours my feet are going to hurt, because that's just what happens. But these were certainly more than bearable to be able to wear all night. Now, as you'll have seen in this footage, wearing this slinky dress on its own was probably a little bit too revealing for my own personal style. So I chose that beautiful blanket scarf to layer over my shoulders as that finishing touch. Let me just grab it. And I think as well, a really nice contrast against that very lame-esque gunmetal fabric of the dress, quite a matte grey over the top works really nicely tone-wise. Well, I say matte, actually, this one is a mottled grey, but in terms of the texture contrast, I think that works nicely together. So this is somewhere between a blanket scarf, a wrap, and a poncho, I would say. You've got a little bit of detail with the text in the contrasting colour here. You don't really notice that an awful lot. It's just a really beautiful yarn. It feels lovely. I feel like it just makes the outfit feel very classy and polished and pretty timeless actually, but certainly appropriate for party season. So one I'm very much looking forward to wearing to lots of lovely events this Christmas. Next up, I headed over to Jigsaw and I chose myself one absolutely gorgeous pair of velvet trousers. I think I'm a little bit obsessed with velvet, particularly trousers. In fact, I vividly remember buying a pair of lovely velvet trousers when I was about 17, and although I sadly don't have them in my wardrobe anymore, I wore them again and again and again. It's actually a bit of a shame really that we only tend to wear pieces like this in autumn winter, because there's something just so very sumptuous about velvet. I love it. Anyway, I digress. So this pair are actually, if you wish, part of a suit, and you could pair them with a beautiful matching velvet blazer. So that in itself would make a gorgeous suit, and indeed something that would cross over nicely for a smart dinner, and then equally wearing it out for events and party season. However, I do already have a navy velvet blazer, so I didn't want to be excessive, and I was keeping my fingers crossed that it will match with these ones instead. So let me just double check. I think that's doable. feel, don't you? I mean, it's not a perfect match, I know, but I certainly think I would get away with that. And of course, it's a bit more sustainable than me choosing another velvet blazer in navy. But I'm also really looking forward to dressing them down a little bit and just pairing them with a classic jumper on my top half. Possibly in a crew, maybe in some soft browns. Olive would look really nice with navy as well. Detail-wise, I love that side stripe they've got running down the side of the leg. You've got a metal clasp and zip at the front here. Nice flat pocket, so that's not going to be creating too much bulk. A nice straight leg with that very gentle flare at the hem, which personally I do find really flattering on my shape. And as I mentioned, I've gone for it in the navy, but they also have, and I thought this would be absolutely gorgeous for Christmas parties this season, I love it in the deep red as well. I do think red and velvet together makes such a luxurious looking outfit, and actually I'm very tempted to add that into my wardrobe as well as having the navy version. I think it's gorgeous. Next up, I added quite a classic actually turtleneck jumper for my wardrobe, but the really nice point of difference with this one is that it's been made from extra fine lightweight merino. Personally, that's a knit that I find really comfortable to wear. It sits and it drapes so beautifully. It's not irritating for my skin. It doesn't tend to bubble either. It just stays looking really, really luxe. So a beautiful yarn. Funnily enough, I first discovered Jigsaw when I was quite young. They had a store in Nottingham, and I don't know if it was particularly their thing, but they were sort of well known for making their knitted linen items. I don't know if anyone else remembers this. And the quality of them was just impeccable, really, really beautiful. And nobody else kind of made knitted linen. It was quite a thing that they'd sort of cornered the market on. So it's one of those stores that you just know you're going to get those high quality pieces. They don't let their prices get too silly. And everything just has quite a classic, elevated, sort of wardrobe staple piece kind of look, I suppose, while at the same time ticking those trend boxes in a really subtle fashion. So very much my cup of tea, really. And then I chose this burgundy satin ruffled blouse. Now, looking at it, I suppose it's very, very similar to the And Other Stories one. So I think I need to choose between the two, really, because they're so similar. I don't think you need to have both. The And Other Stories one is very ruffly and does sort of tick that bohemian fashion trend quite a lot. And the Jigsaw one does feel a little bit more classic. So I guess personal preference, really, depending on your own personal style. I love this folded pleated trim that they've got around the collar. That's a really nice, quite different detail actually. A V-neck, again, not coming too low. And then you've got these little ruffles going over the shoulder. Shape-wise, it looks quite boxy. I don't think that's going to be fitting too tight. And then again, on the sleeves, you've got lots of width there. So that's not going to be pulling anywhere. And then just little gathers and a bit of elastic on the hem as well. I mean, I know it's a bit of a default setting for me, but I think that would look really, really lovely with jeans. I really need to stop wearing my jeans. Or actually, perhaps that would look really nice with those new navy velvet trousers. Yes, that would get me out of my jeans once in a while, and definitely a really lovely colour combination to wear those two together. How to look classy and polished when it's really cold outside? I would advise looking out for those interesting details that sets an item apart from the rest. Which brings me to a beautiful independent brand that I've been wearing actually for about 5 or 6 years now, called Tula and Hope. Now this is a jumper that they did in white throughout spring summer, and I totally fell in love with it, but annoyingly they ran out of stock. But when it came out in the black, Tula and Hope knew I would definitely love to add that into my wardrobe. They have such an original style, which is what we often get from independent brands. They might follow the trends, but they don't follow the pack. So you often get those little elements that makes an item really stand out from the rest, and chances are you're not going to see somebody else in the same dress or jumper as it may be. And I've got a couple of their spring summer dresses which you've probably seen over the years. They're quite famous for doing this intricate embroidery over all of their pieces in beautiful designs, but having that signature look in a sweatshirt I thought was a really nice twist. As opposed to some of their more going out dresses, it means I can wear that style on an everyday basis. No matter how casual I want to go, whether I'm wearing jeans or a pair of tailored trousers and my trainers, having that really polished element that's just a little bit different on your top half makes the outfit look so much more intentional. So it's just made from cotton. It feels really nice against my skin, quite a boxy, oversized shape. And this one that I've got is in a small, but as you can see, it's not coming up too tight. I love it. I've worn it a lot already, and I think it just stands out for all the right reasons. And that is pretty much it. A very classic winter haul indeed, that's hopefully given you lots of outfit ideas to style pieces that perhaps you've already got in your wardrobe that were similar to mine, and also, of course, a few ideas of some of my favorite pieces that are out there at the moment. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, I am always very, very grateful if you'd like to do so. And you can also follow my daily outfit ideas and styling advice on my YouTube shorts, and of course over on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and I shall see you again on Sunday.